All right, what is going on, guys? SteelTwins coming back at you with another video. Football is back. Week 1 of the NFL season is officially here. It's another exciting time, another exciting year of NFL football as regular season is right here, and it is officially time to watch football once again on Sundays, which is always fun to watch. And with that is another exciting year of us bringing on guests for the weekly predictions, man. And who better than to open week 1 than our boy, Steel Sermon. How you doing, man?
What's going on, boys? It is officially like Christmas time for football fans. Our Steelers are back after, 7-8 months, and very eventful offseason, very big season for us. We don't have 7 at center no more, but it's exciting to see what the future holds in store for a lot of these younger players and even some of these vets on this team moving forward. So I'm ready, and I hope Steeler Nation's ready, man. It's going to be a very interesting year. Glad to be on here. Always a pleasure.
I'm glad to have you on, man. Well said. It's definitely going to be a very interesting and fun year. No matter what happens, man, I'm just going into it as if I'm just going to enjoy the ride. Whatever happens, happens. Very similar to when Ben went down in 2019. It's just whatever happens, happens, and I'm just going to enjoy it for what it is. So it should be a fun year. Now, for those that don't know, Steel Sermon is obviously another Steelers content creator or Pittsburgh sports content creator. So if you are not subscribed, then I don't know what you're doing. Obviously, you can just hit the @ in the title or hit the link in the description box below. But for those that don't know, Steel Sermon is formerly known as Steel Maiden. And unfortunately, his other channel got terminated for some reason by YouTube. So, unfortunately, he's going to have to build his channel from the ground up again. And he's already, I believe, a quarter of the way to 1,000 subscribers right now. A little over that now. So, for those that don't know, unfortunately, his channel got terminated. He's going to have to restart from scratch. But, you know, he's climbing up there pretty fast now. So, for those that may have wondered where he went or what happened to his channel, or guys that just want another Steelers content creator, definitely go sub to Steel Sermon, man. Let's try to get his channel growing back up again, man.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate it. Just crazy how YouTube works sometimes. And for any of you that are Pirate fans and Pens fans, I do cover them as well. It's just that football season's around the corner. So just, football season's back, not around the corner. But, yeah, I avidly cover the Pirates and Pens, too. If you want to see me lose my mind about the Pirates, or you want to see me just talk about Pens hockey or Steeler football, it's the channel to do it, man.
Absolutely, man. Definitely go sub up to him. And for those that also don't know, he will be joining us for the majority of the year for the watch parties and the live reactions. He'll be co-hosting it as well. So that should be very fun. And obviously, that all starts this Sunday when Pittsburgh travels to, as I still going to call it because it's the rivalry, Cincinnati. But we'll get to that game when we get to it, because we got to open up with the first game of the regular season. And honestly, it could be a Super Bowl preview, I suppose. We have the Buffalo Bills traveling to the defending Super Bowl champions, the Los Angeles Rams, to open the season. What a game to open it. What's your prediction, man?
Well, like you guys said, hell of a way to start the season off. We could have game of the year right here, man. The Buffalo Bills, I like the Bills, guys. I mean, obviously, I'm not a Bills fan, but I love the team that they have up there in Buffalo. Josh Allen, phenomenal quarterback. He reminds me a lot of when Ben was his age. I don't know if anyone else sees it, but I do. His mobility in the pocket. He has a great arm. Accuracy could be a little bit better, but overall, I think Josh Allen is just going to continue to be one of the elite quarterbacks in this league. He's got a great supporting cast as well. But Buffalo's defense, that defense is elite as they come, and I expect big things out of that defense this year. And then obviously over in LA, you got the Rams, the defending champions. Great team once again. Matthew Stafford, phenomenal year last year. And the Rams, going to be a little bit of a challenge for them as well. Obviously, repeating is never easy, but they lost some key pieces in the offseason as well. But they did add Bobby Wagner to that defense to help out the pass rush. Kind of crazy to think that a defense that has AD, possibly the best player on the planet, would be kind of low in pressure. But I think Bobby Wagner is going to help that out big time. So, yeah, Van Jefferson becoming a great deep threat for him. Cooper Kupp is just uncoverable. I mean, this has all the makings for game of the year, like I said. And this one was incredibly difficult for me to pick. So when in doubt, I usually go home team, and that's what I'm going to do here. I think Buffalo will make it incredibly close, but I am going to take the LA Rams for this one in a very tight one.
Yeah, this one's just tough for me to choose as well. I mean, this could go either way. I will say this right here, right now, as week 1 is here. It is week 1 week. It is opening week of the NFL season. My prediction for who's going to win the Super Bowl is the Buffalo Bills. I think they have what it takes this year. I think finally, for the first time in their franchise's history, they could win the Super Bowl this year. I think they have all the makings to go all the way, and legitimately this time. With that being said, I think they start off strong. I think they actually, I don't know if you would call it an upset, but I suppose since the Rams are at home this time around, I say the Bills swoop the win from under them. So let's go Buffalo here. Let's make it a little interesting.
Okay, this is the type of game that could really go either way. Buffalo's a great up-and-rising team. Fantastic talent on offense and defense. Same with the Los Angeles Rams. They are the reigning defending Super Bowl champions. It's going to be a fun matchup, and it's really tough to really choose who could win this game. Because like I said, it could go either way. But I'm going to go with Sermon's trait, and I'm going to go with, if you can't decide, go with the home team.
Right.
So I'm going to go with the Rams on this one, although I could see Buffalo pulling off the upset, quote-unquote, but I think the Rams will start off with a dub.
Okay, but I think we all agree that this is one hell of a game to open up the opening week.
Absolutely.
Now we move on to the Sunday games. The New Orleans Saints at the Atlanta Falcons in an NFC South matchup.
The Saints' defense, probably just as good as Buffalo's, to be honest with you. They got a great front. They can get to the QB a lot. They're great at covering. Lattimore's really evolved into a good coverage guy. So, I mean, the Saints, I really think that they're just an elite quarterback away from pretty much getting back to where they were. And this offseason, they had a chance to get Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. Obviously, that didn't happen. But really, the Saints, I think they're a lot people than what people give them credit for. I mean, Alvin Kamara being out because of what happened at the Pro Bowl, that's going to hurt them a little bit. But I think the Saints are in better position than what people say. The Falcons, they figure to be the worst team in the league this year, and it's very easy to see why. They don't have Matt Ryan anymore. I mean, I think Matt Ryan, he's another one of those quarterbacks that's kind of like rounding third and heading home with retiring. I think he needs to call it a career as well. More on him later. But, Atlanta, they're just a mess right now. They do play the Saints tough because it is a divisional game, but I'm going to go with the Saints. I just think that they're the better team here.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, even the return of Michael Thomas is going to be big, and the addition of Chris Olave in the draft. I do agree. The Saints are much better than what many people put them out to be, especially that defense. It's one of the reasons why they were as competitive as they were last year, even though the offense was atrocious to watch.
Yep.
So, yeah, let's go New Orleans here. They definitely start with a dub. Atlanta, man, I just don't know anymore. I mean, I thought they'd have a decent run with what's his face at head coach, Arthur Smith, I believe.
Yes.
But as of right now, they're obviously in a rebuild phase. But how much longer can Smith run with the rebuild phase?
I mean, coming into his second season, I do like Arthur Smith as head coach for Atlanta. I think he can really do something great for them. But in the current state of Atlanta right now, it's definitely going to take him time. I mean, he's got maybe 5 key guys on the team, and that's Drake London, their rookie wide receiver, Kyle Pitts, Cordell Patterson. That's just on offense.
AJ Terrell.
AJ Terrell.
But that's about it.
On defense, and same with Grady Jarrett and
Deion Jones.
But that's just about it. 6 guys ain't really going to win you games. And it's going to be tough for Atlanta this year, and I don't think they open up with a W. Although it is the Saints, it's a division rival. They could have their number on this one. I think the Saints are just too overpowered compared to what Atlanta has right now. I think the Saints are going to be something interesting for the NFC this upcoming season. I think the Saints get a dub here.
Yeah, I think the Saints actually push a playoff spot. Not saying they will make it, but they'll be in contention strongly. Next game, we have the San Francisco 49ers at the Chicago Bears. This should be interesting. What's your prediction?
Well, the Bears, they're another team that is just kind of in what the hell are we doing kind of mode. I mean, I just can't wrap my mind around the fact that a team or a franchise that can get rid of both Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace can somehow get worse.
Yeah.
You know? And that's exactly what's happening to the Bears. I just don't think that they improved at all this offseason. And, you know, losing Khalil Mack, that's going to really hurt their defense right there. Roquan Smith, this might be his last year in Chicago. And, you know, I don't think it's fair to put all the blame on Justin Fields, because I do think he has a fair amount of talent, just not enough to, you know, survive in the state that the Bears are in. But, yeah, the 49ers, I mean, everyone just always looks down on San Francisco, but I've always been an advocate of them. When they are healthy, they, in my opinion, are a top 10 roster in the league. That defense they have is just phenomenal, and it's been shown countless times. I mean, they went up to Lambeau and beat the Packers in the playoffs again. That's the fourth time they've beaten Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. And they made it to the NFC Championship game. They had the Rams on the ropes until Kyle Shanahan did what he does best, which is choke in big moments. But still, I mean, the 49ers, I mean, they're still a really good team when they're fully healthy. And I expect San Francisco to give the Rams a really good challenge in the NFC West this year. And I think they go into Chicago and they get this dub rather easily. So give me the Niners.
Agreed. I think the Niners, if they can stay healthy for the majority of the year, I believe Trey Lance is now the starter in the second year.
Yep.
I mean, I think he could not necessarily take the league by storm, but have a much more smoother transition than many people are anticipating. Yeah, give me San Francisco here. With Chicago, I mean, like you said with Justin Fields, I mean, he doesn't have a good support system. He has one good receiver, Darnell Mooney, and he's arguably a number one. I mean, on the verge of one, I suppose, but that's it. The O-line is atrocious. I feel bad for Justin Fields, and honestly, we've seen it countless times. The track record, the trend for quarterbacks in Chicago is not good. It's really not. And unfortunately, Justin Fields is just in a bad situation, and I just don't know what the Bears anymore, man.
We're just going to continue to see that trend of Chicago failing to find a true franchise quarterback, unfortunately.
Yeah, and you know, it's kind of like a double whammy for the Bears right there, because they don't have a good track record with quarterbacks, and Ohio State quarterbacks, which is where Justin Fields went to college, they have a bad reputation of not transitioning in the NFL as well. So, I mean, that's just, this isn't a coincidence. This is like destiny right here.
That's a very interesting point. Like, wow.
Hey, Chicago took the chance, and it could turn out, you know, good for them, because I do like Fields. I think he can definitely be something. But Chicago's not giving him any aid. They're not giving him any help, and I don't know if they ever will, because this is just Chicago Bears we're talking about.
Right.
And San Francisco, they're a great team. Trey Lance, I think he could be something special. They got a lot of great weapons on offense. Defense is phenomenal. I got San Francisco getting this win. As a matter of fact, this is my lock of the week for this one.
Okay.
San Francisco is my lock of the week.
Okay. Next game, we move on to our beloved Pittsburgh Steelers. They travel to the reigning, defending, undisputed AFC Conference champions, the Cincinnati Bengals. I can't really call them that no more, but it's the rivalry aspect. The Bengals have beaten us 3 straight times. That's the first time they've done it since the late 80s into the early 90s. They swept us in beautiful fashion last year. Disgusting fashion on our end.
Beautiful fashion on their end. The first time since they've done that since 2009.
Yeah. Now, obviously, the Steelers on paper are looking like a more stacked team than last year. I just don't know what to anticipate with Mitch at quarterback because I'm still a little uncertain about Matt Canada, and obviously this offensive line is still incredibly atrocious. I have zero faith in it. But what's your prediction here?
Well, I'll try to keep this short. First of all, with me being a co-host on your guys' stream for a little bit until I'm able to stream again, your subscribers, they're gonna see, they're gonna see just how not only loud but passionate I can get when it comes to my teams, especially with the Steelers. The difference between the Pirates and the Steelers for me is that the Pirates suck because they have no talent, okay? The Steelers, I get loud at them because they are too good to be performing this poorly, especially on offensive line.
Right.
So, yeah, the thing is, Mitch, to me, it makes perfect sense as why he's going to be the starter, because you don't throw I'm also an advocate of you don't throw rookie quarterback into the fire right away just because you have a gut feeling with him. Now, granted, sometimes that does work, and the best example for me is Russell Wilson up in Seattle when he was a rookie. They really thought that he was the guy, and, rest is history, but I just wouldn't take that risk with Kenny Pickett. Now, best case, it could be another Big Ben situation, because we didn't start Ben right away in 2004. Tommy Maddox was starting, and he got injured in week 2. Ben came in, won 13 straight with us, and took it from there. But it just feels different this time. This O-line, especially Kendrick Green, is just – it's disgusting to watch. So big shout out to Najee Harris for his 1,200 yards on the ground last year. Massive dub for him. But I like these young, talented receivers we got. I think that they can mold into decent playmakers altogether. We don't have really a true number one receiver. Instead, we rather have more than guys who are number twos who can work up to being number one without truly being a number one, if that makes sense. But yeah, overall, this offense is a work in progress. It's just, it comes down to the quarterback and the offensive line for us, really. Defensive side of things, I love that we fixed up the D-line. Interior linebacker really needs to step it up. 55. Yeah, overall, this seems like an evenly divided team that we have here, with young guys looking to make an impact and veterans who are looking to take a leadership role, which is why the captains were announced earlier today. Then you got the Bengals. Who would ever think that I'd be sitting down here saying that they're the AFC champions?
Yeah.
I mean, not only that, but they have completely dominated us over the last 3 games, winning all 3 of them games by 10 or more points. And it's really just surprising to see, because we had won the previous 11 over these guys, So as much as, the Bengals, they did fix up that offensive line spectacularly. So there should be no excuse for Joe Burrow this year. Jamar Chase obviously is just next to uncoverable like Cooper Kupp is. Defense looks a lot better. So, I mean, yeah, it's easy to see why the Bengals are favored to make another run this year. And honestly, I think they can do it. Something that a lot of my subscribers and something that a lot of my pool members always give me crap for. It's that when I pick against the Steelers, it means, oh, you want the Steelers to lose so your picks look good. That ain't true. Just because I pick against my own team, that doesn't mean I want them to lose. That is the only L I'll be happy to hold.
Yeah.
If we win this game. That doesn't mean I want them to lose. I will never cheer for my team to lose just so my picks look good. That's something that a lot of my pool members and my subscribers don't understand. So with that being said, I hate to have to do this, but I think just the Bengals have the upper hand in this game. I think that they're better than us right now. We'll see with the second matchup when it's under the lights. I'm still calling it Heinz Field. I'm with you, boys. I'm still calling it Heinz Field. We'll see what the second matchup's like on Sunday Night Football at Heinz Field. But for right now, I think the Bengals just have the upper hand.
It's incredibly hard to disagree with you, because I mean that is they're not what we want to call Cincinnati anymore. They're not, they are legitimately, who they. There's no who they, we they anymore. Like, the rivalry was renewed the last 3 games here. So, I mean, in that instance, you kind of have to take the Bengals, don't you? But at the same time, I need an upset of the week.
Oh.
Yeah. So, shot in the dark. Upset of the week, I'm taking Pittsburgh.
You're taking Pittsburgh.
I'm taking Pittsburgh, man. Hey, maybe it's like last year when they somehow, I still don't know how they did it, somehow beat Buffalo.
It could be a repeat if that possibility is there. It's just, it's tough because when it comes to this upcoming season, I have no clue, what we're going to expect from the Steelers. Maybe from the defense. Only
because I have no expectations.
Exactly. It's hard to have expectations because Ben's not here no more. We're in a new era for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The offense is, it's like Sermon said earlier, it's a work in progress.
It is. It's a massive work. It's more like a patient waiting game.
Yeah, I don't see the offense making a massive jump compared to previous years. I really don't.
Not until this offensive line shows a decent upgrade, which could take how much longer?
Yeah.
How much longer are we going to go with the young factor and all this and that?
Just going up against the Bengals, especially on the road again for week 1, which is like what, the 8th straight year for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
7th or 8th.
For week 1 for the Steelers to be to start the season on the road. The Bengals, they're a great team. They're the reigning AFC champions. They made it to a Super Bowl last year when no one in their right mind ever thought that the Bengals could do it. Mm-hmm. They're stacked with talent for the first time since the last time they made the playoffs. The Bengals, from a Steelers fan, they're a great team. They're a phenomenal team, and it's going to be really difficult for the Steelers to go on the road and beat them, especially with how they're looking right now. I mean, they're looking better than last year, but there's not many expectations.
Looking better from a roster standpoint.
Better from a roster standpoint, yes, but there's not really a lot of expectations, at least for me and Dan here, and probably Sermon going into this game. It's going to be really interesting to see how the Steelers perform. I do think they will keep it extremely competitive going against Cincinnati compared to last year when they were swept. But I'm going to go with Cincinnati to get this one. I really am. Okay. I hope to God I'm wrong. Maybe Pittsburgh pulls an upset like last year when they beat Buffalo, but that possibility is there. There's a chance they could pull off the upset, but I'm going to go with the Bengals on this one.
Any given Sunday, but, I mean, the Bengals are 6.5 favorites, so, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, hey, you never know. I was actually looking at NFL's game preview for us, and I saw something very interesting at the end of that video. Every single analyst picked the Bengals to beat us, and if you remember last year in week 1, we were in Buffalo, everyone picked the Bills to beat us.
You're right.
And look what happened. It could happen.
It could absolutely happen. We'll see, man. It should be a fun watch, though, for sure. Next in, we have the Philadelphia Eagles at the Detroit Lions. What's your prediction here?
Kind of an easier one here. The Eagles, they upgraded this offseason as well. Big prove-it year for Jalen Hurts if he truly is the guy moving forward. Little bit of a taste of irony for Philly, actually. They traded their receiver that they wanted to get to Minnesota, and now he's with the team that they passed on. If that's not irony, I don't know what is. But, yeah, the Eagles, they came out of nowhere last year either with a no-name head coach, and they made the playoffs. Now, granted, they got smacked around by Brady in the playoffs, but still, like, considering everyone was saying, oh, they're going to finish last in the East next year, they took a big stride forward, and they honestly did one of the best jobs in the offseason with Howie Roseman restructuring the contracts. So I think Philly's in really good shape to compete, and honestly, I think they can take the NFC East this year. I'm with the whole narrative of that No NFC East team has repeated as division champs since '04, when it was the Eagles that did that, actually. So I'm going to keep that narrative alive until it breaks. I think Philly is good enough to win the NFC East this year. Then Detroit. The Lions, they're not a good team, but they do play hard because they respect their head coach, Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell kind of reminds me of Bill Cowher a little bit, honestly. He's just a football guy who gets fired up, and he really whips those guys into shapes. The only difference is that when Cowher came here, he was pretty much taking a burnout team that just needed rejuvenating. And Dan Campbell's taken a team that doesn't really have a whole lot of talent. But I respect Dan Campbell as a head coach. You don't really see coaches like that anymore that just get fired up, So I think Aiden Hutchinson, he's going to be a star one day. But for right now, it's just Detroit. They're just, I don't know if it's enough to get them out of last place. Maybe next year or even the year after they can be better, but I just don't think it's enough for them to get out of last. I'm going to go with Philly for this one.
Yeah, I got to go Philly as well. They had a very impressive offseason. They added A.J. Brown to the core with Devonta Smith. They upgraded the line a little bit. That defense has definitely improved, especially the linebacking core. They just traded for
C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles are a really good team, as a matter of fact. And I agree, they definitely have a run at winning the East for sure. So give me the Eagles here. It's just with the Lions, Dan Campbell is probably the best thing that's happened in that city in a long time. But it's just he still has a lot to work with. Yep. With Goff as his quarterback, he has the targets on offense. The line's a little improved. The defense is it's not all there yet, but it's getting there. Give them another couple years, Detroit could be a pretty decent team. But as of now, they're just not enough to trust yet. So give me Philly.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think I'm going to go with Philadelphia to get the win. Detroit, I do think in their stadium they will keep it extremely competitive. I don't think they're there yet when it comes to being a sleeper team. But I would say give it maybe another year or two, considering what they got from Matthew Stafford just last offseason. They used some of those picks on Hutchinson and Jameson Williams for this year, and I think next year they can continue to improve, and maybe next year they could be something. This year I think they'll be a competitive team, but not there this year. I don't think they're really going to do much from a record standpoint, but as a competitive team compared to last year, I think they'll be a little bit better. But Philly, I mean, they're stacked. Jalen Hurts is still a question mark there at quarterback, but it just goes to show that they're surrounding the guy with talent because they believe in him.
Right.
And with their new head coach from last year, he surprised a lot of people, like Sermon said. I think Philly continues to surprise a lot of people with their head coach. I think Hurts does take the next step, being the full-time Eagles starter, and I think the Eagles do get this win against Detroit, and a competitive one at that, though.
Right. Next game, we have another rivalry matchup. We go to the AFC East this time around. We have the New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins. This is not what you would expect from years past. What's your prediction here?
So the Patriots, I honestly don't think they're as good as what people say. Mm-hmm. I mean, sure, they made the playoffs last year, but they made it there like pretty much limping in there. Mac Jones, this guy's either going to be a pure pocket passer or he's going to be Alex Smith 2.0. Even Patriot fans are starting to say that. And then, they got completely annihilated by Buffalo in the playoffs, which was glorious to watch. But, honestly, it was just a team beating up on a team that didn't belong there, a.k.a. us against Kansas City. But, yeah, New England, I just think that they're strictly a defensive team, and they don't really have any talent at receivers. So I think it's just, if everyone's saying that Mac Jones, he's Brady 2.0, well, he better play out of his mind this season if that's the case, which I don't think he is. No. Just a spoiler. Uh-huh. But Miami, very interesting offseason for them, obviously. The biggest headline for them, Brian Flores is no longer their head coach. I'm not going to get full into that because that's not the premise of this. I just think that there's more to it than the reason that he got fired. But yeah, I love that we brought Flores in here. I think he's a great defensive-minded guy. He can develop linebackers real well. He works great with them. And I think with him being an ear-whispered Terrell Austin up here, I think that's going to make me feel a little bit more confident with Terrell Austin, even though I still maintain I'm not an in-house promotion kind of guy. But, yeah, there's big expectations with Miami. They upgraded at receivers. They drafted well. Defense still looks good. And, obviously, the cheetah's there now in Tyreek Hill. So, Tua, he has no excuse not to elevate his game up now that he has the fastest guy on the planet right now in Tyreek Hill. So, big X factor here. The Patriots, even with Brady, they never play well in Miami. Brady has a losing record all time in Miami, actually. And the Patriots have lost, I think, 7 out of their last 9 in Miami. So that ain't good. And I think Miami keeps up the winning streak against them. I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
I agree. I'm totally going Dolphins here. The Pats, I mean, you can never count out Belichick, but there's just something weird with them this year. I just don't think they're going to be as competitive as they were last year. I think that the defense took a little bit of a hit, especially in the secondary. They lost 2 of their main corners.
Yep.
I can't even tell you who their number 1 guy is, if I'm going to be honest with you. The offense, I mean, I just don't know about Mac Jones. He honestly seems like he could be one of those sophomore slump type of guys. Now, I could be very wrong on that. He just gives me that vibe as of right now. As with Miami, love what they did in the offseason. I really think Mike McDaniel is going to take them to a good stage. I think he's a very genius coach. He's under that Shanahan coaching tree. He's very run-heavy as well. Obviously, the additions they made at receiver. Still got Mike Gesicki at tight end. The offensive line could be a little better, although they made a big splash for Armstead. Tua is just the biggest question mark. This is truly a make or break here. He really has 0 excuses left. If he doesn't show out this year, man, I think Miami ought to move on. That defense is also, it really helped them out last year as well. So, yeah, give me Miami here.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with... I think I'm going to go with Miami on this one because I was thinking maybe New England could pull off the win on the road, but lately, I don't know what it is, but lately Miami just seems to have their number, at home against New England. Bill Belichick, I mean, he's still obviously for his age a great coach. He does have a very good team, although I don't know how good they will be compared to last year, especially like Dan said, the losses they sustained and how is Mac Jones going to look in his second year? The Dolphins, great additions. They have a great team. I think they have a up and rising head coach, and Mike McDaniels. I think he's a great-minded type of coach. They got a lot of targets. They got a lot of talent. It's just, the question mark is Tua, but we'll see how he does. But I do think in this game, Miami starts off the season with a win.
Okay. Next game, let's move on. We have the Baltimore Ravens at the New York Jets. Don't know if Zach Wilson's going to be healthy enough to play, but if he does, that might give the Jets some chance. The Jets are an interesting team. How do you feel about them this year?
They are interesting, but kind of like Detroit. I just don't think it's good enough for them to get out of last place. Zach Wilson, God bless him. Hopefully that, his ACL isn't all that severe and he can come back. But I wouldn't rush it, to be honest. Like if he needs more time to recover, then let the guy recover. You never rush an injury. We learned that with Big Ben a couple of times,
Yep.
But so if he can't play, then ironically, Joe Flacco could be starting this game for the Jets.
I forgot he was with the Jets.
So yeah, I guess that could be the third quarterback versus his old team matchup this week, as we'll get into in a little bit. But the Ravens, speaking of health, aside from Gus Edwards, I think they put him on the injured reserve again because he's not fully good to go. The Ravens are mostly healthy, So, I mean, yeah, I don't get me wrong, guys. I absolutely love the fact that they were 8-3 last year and they finished 8-9. But that comes with a massive asterisk because like they pretty much had a practice squad set there, and most of their starters on offense were healthy, and Lamar got injured down the final phase of the season. So, yeah, it's a choke job, but it comes with an asterisk. We all know that when the Ravens are fully healthy, they are a legit playoff team. Even though I still think this is gimmicky and it's just not designed to be a Super Bowl contender, which is something I said 2.5 years ago in that playoff game against the Titans. Everyone laughed at me, and look at what happened, you know? With that being said, the Ravens are way better than the Jets in this one, and this is actually the game where I think the Ravens cover the spread. They're favored by 6 in this game. I got Baltimore taking this one, and I got them covering all day. I say 33-21 Baltimore, and I got them doubling the spread. That's how confident I am.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I just don't know what the Jets like. They made some good additions. I think Elijah Moore is going to be a very underrated receiver in the league. Breece Hall might be what they need to transition that run game. Since, I hate to bring him up, but they all thought Le'Veon Bell was going to do that. But, big contract for nothing. But the defense is a little improved. I like their head coach. But I don't think they're there yet. Like you said, they remind me of Detroit. They have some tools. They have some core guys built there. They're just not all there yet. So, yeah, give me Baltimore absolutely winning this one.
See, I almost want to choose upset of the week here with the Jets. Not just because Flacco's more than likely going to be the quarterback for this game against his old team, but, the Jets, talent-wise, are not half bad.
No.
When you just base it off of talent. Elijah Moore, the draft that they had, which was spectacular considering this is the Jets we're talking about.
But this is talent rather than execution.
I know, when it comes to the Jets, they never execute.
No.
At all.
And I really like their head coach, Robert, what's his name, Salah.
Yeah.
I forget how you pronounce his name, but the former Niners DC. I mean, he's on the sideline and he's passionate. He's pumped. He's the right guy to change that direction, but it's not as soon as many would anticipate.
Right, and I don't know if that will happen in this game against Baltimore. I mean, this is the healthiest they have been in quite a bit, when it comes to Week 1 games. The Ravens are a stellar team. They got a lot of talent at the same time. Especially in the running game, not just Lamar Jackson capable of running the ball, but they're getting J.K. Dobbins back. They added Kenyon Drake, I believe, they added to the team.
Right.
They added Mike Davis, and Gus Edwards. They got a lot of talent when it comes to running the ball. And the defense, they have some stellar guys, some upper-rising guys at the same time. So you know what? I was going to go with the upset with the Jets here, but
what?
I was.
Oh, okay.
I said
okay.
was. I didn't say is. I said was. But give me Baltimore. I'm going to go with the safe bet. Give me Baltimore to win this game.
Yeah, for sure. Next game, we have the battle of the mediocre. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Washington Commanders.
Football team.
God, I got used to that. What's your prediction?
Why does this one exist?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I know. So Jacksonville, again, it's just teams that are trying, but it's just they don't know what they're doing. I don't know. I think this year is going to be very telling of Trevor Lawrence if he's going to fully transition to the NFL well. I just think Washington's just better than Jacksonville with the quarterback situation, the defense. Chase Young needs to be healthy. Sweat's really good for him. I'm just going to go Washington because I just think they're better than the Jags.
Right. I'm actually going to – I don't know if this would be considered an upset, and I already gave you my upset of the week. I'm actually going to go Jacksonville here. I think they could be a little better than what most people are anticipating. Lawrence kind of impressed me in preseason, especially that game when we played them. They're getting a very good backfield healthy with ETN pretty much playing his rookie year here. Mm-hmm. And James Robinson is still very good as well. Their receiving core was improved a little bit, very overpaid, but a little improved. Defense, on the other hand, if they can get some core guys healthy, they lost Miles Jack, which is big, but they have Doug Pearson at head coach. Maybe a year hiatus does some favors for Jacksonville. At least the culture there is going to be a lot better than it was last year. That's for damn sure.
Yes.
But give me Jacksonville here. I don't know if you would consider that an upset, but I'm going Jacksonville. Let's mix it up a bit.
You see, I look at, when I look at both teams, I don't really see anything too stellar. I really don't.
Me neither.
Especially the Jags. I mean, the Commanders, I guess you could say they got better.
I see two teams that are battling not to be last place.
Exactly. I mean, the Commanders, they're stuck with Carson Wentz. I mean, I guess compared to years prior, that's better. But Wentz is he's extremely inconsistent, and he's not really that reliable, especially when it comes to his health and staying on the field.
Yeah.
The Commanders, they do have good talent when it comes to running the ball with Antonio Gibson.
Brian Robinson,
yes.
The receivers are nice. Jahan Dotson just got added to pair with McLaurin.
And their defense is a real stellar, although they won't have Chris Young for quite a bit. They still have some stellar guys on that defense. The Jags, they're in rebuild mode with Doug Peterson. They did lose some guys on defense, but they selected Travon Walker, number 1 overall. They also have Devin Lloyd to replace Miles Jack, basically. The offense looks pretty promising, especially if Lawrence can take that next step. You know what? I'm gonna mark this as my upset of the week. Why the hell not? I'm gonna go with Dan. Give me Jacksonville. I just feel like, I don't know why, but I can see this happening. I can see Carson Wentz kind of screwing over the Commanders. Like, they have that lead, and then he just tries too hard, and then the Jaguars take advantage, and then they get their big win to start the season.
So that's your upset of the week.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's move on to a much more interesting discussion here, since no one cares about the Jags or the Commanders. Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield plays his old team. We have the Cleveland Browns traveling to Carolina Panthers.
He's going to fuck them up.
The Baker Mayfield-led Carolina Panthers.
Here's an interesting connection with me. So next month, I'm moving into a condo in Cleveland. I'm going to be living in Brownstown for a little. And I got a little bit of words for these Browns fans up here. So years they talked about Big Ben with his allegations. That is the most Browns thing I have ever heard in my life. And that's saying something. Pretty much, he's missing the first 11 games. So they'll be rolling with Jacoby Brissett for this game, most likely. Less than 2 years ago, we're talking about the Browns, turning their franchise around, and now they pull off something like this.
Mm-hmm.
They're back to their old selves.
You love to see it.
You love to see it.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
It's Cleveland for you, man. The Browns are the Browns.
So, yeah, my upset of the Carolina.
I do hope that Baker gets some revenge here, because this is the exact definition of a revenge game. Carolina, can Christian McCaffrey stay healthy? Like, that's the only gripe here that's holding on with the Panthers is, can our star running back stay healthy? I like their receiving core. The line could be better. Defense is nice. They got some underrated guy. Brian Burns is very underrated. I think the one corner they drafted last year, what's his name?
J.C. Horn.
Thank you, J.C. Horn. I think he's going to be a star in this league. They have some tools there, but, like some of the teams we mentioned here before, like the Jets and the Lions, they're not all there yet. But I'm going to go with Carolina in this one. I just don't see how Cleveland wins this game unless they give the ball to Chubb 30 times, but I don't know, man. I just don't think Cleveland's going to walk away with this one here.
Yeah, I don't really know how Brissett's going to do. I never really thought Brissett. He's a serviceable guy, but he's nothing that you're really going to rely on. Obviously, they're going to have to rely on the running game with Chubb. I guess Kareem Hunt, I don't know what the current situation is between the Browns and Hunt since he reportedly requested a trade.
Right.
I don't know. I really couldn't give a crap. It's whatever. The Browns are basically falling apart at this point.
Yeah.
They got some stellar guys on defense. I'll give the Browns that. But the Panthers, man, I think they can really be something. I just don't know about Matt Rule anymore. I really don't.
Yeah, me neither.
Like he starts off really good, but later on to the season, he just falls apart.
He also looks
and the whole team does in general.
He looks like a disastrous idiot, honestly. Like, from what I've seen with Carolina the past couple years with him under the realm, I thought they were going to turn some heads. Not even close. And their quarterback situation's even worse.
Yeah, he started with Teddy Bridgewater, really didn't do much. They look competitive, but didn't do much. Sam Darnold seemed to be, a new lease on life for the guy after leaving the New York Jets, and he
sucks.
He did not do anything.
No.
He started off good, but he was not consistent, and I don't anticipate Baker really doing the same thing. I mean, he's better than both guys. I'll give Baker that, but not by much.
That's not saying much.
That is not saying much. But I think Carolina does get the win. I think Baker's really going to give it all he's got with the weapons that he's got around him. I think the Panthers are definitely going to want to try to get the win for Baker at the same time.
Right.
Give me Carolina here.
Next game, another rivalry matchup here. We have the Indianapolis Colts. We have the AFC South matchup. The Colts at the Texans, man. Now, last year, the Colts, I believe, swept the Texans in beautiful fashion, specifically because Jonathan Taylor had two of his best games of the season, arguably, against the Texans. So, what's your prediction here?
Indianapolis, no-brainer. I mean, obviously the Colts, Matt Ryan I was talking about earlier, it's just this. If he can return to like 2016 form, then the Colts are in really good shape. But this could kind of be like, Phillip Rivers 2.0 with them. But let's face it, Jonathan Taylor's a beast. Indianapolis has a pretty good defense too. And Houston, I mean, they're just another team that you can pick against a lot this season. So I got Indy winning big this year, or this game.
Yeah, I agree. In fact, this is my lock of the week, 100% here. It's easily my lock of the week. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if I can do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Not only is this my lock of the week, this is the game I think will cover the spread. I believe the Colts are 8-point favorites. So, yeah, give me the Colts winning here by a score of, God almighty, let's go 29-17.
Okay.
Generously.
Yeah, you're good with having two birds with one stone.
Good.
All right. Yeah, give me the Colts here. I don't really anticipate Houston doing much. The Texans, they're not really looking too great outside of maybe Dameon Pierce, their star rookie running back. Taking the number one spot already for a rookie. But, I mean, Davis Mills could be something. He showed a little bit of flashes, but what's he going to do? All he's got is Brandon Cooks. That's literally it. And can he even stay healthy? And that defense, I mean, who they got? Who the hell does Houston got? Like, Jesus Christ. Give me the Colts here.
100% here. 100%. New York at Tennessee. So the Giants at the Titans here. Man, I don't know about New York anymore. How do you feel about New York?
And the Giants also, just because I follow some Giants fans on YouTube who I'm good friends with, the Giants have not been over 500 since 2016. Like, that's just mind-blowing to think how you can be that bad for that long.
Really?
Yeah, they haven't been over 500 at any point since 2016.
Since that picture was taken.
Yeah, that boat picture. Wow.
Excuse me. And the thing with the Giants, I mean, they got a quarterback problem too. I mean, Daniel Jones is just not a franchise guy. He's just not good. His decision-making is awful. He just doesn't play with a good head on his shoulders. His awareness is awful. And the Giants are just bad at drafting too. That being said, guys like Kadarius Toney and Kenny Golladay, they got to step up their game. They did not have a receiving touchdown last year, and the Giants were really high on those two, especially Kadarius Toney. He was their first-round pick last year, so he really needs to step up his game. Giants defense, very hit and miss. Sometimes it can look really good, and then other times it looks like it doesn't even belong in the college level. But Joe Judge, he was a very bad head coach for them. I don't know about their new guy. I'm going to have to wait and see, I guess. But it's just the Giants, they just kind of figure to be in last place again. And then Tennessee, they had a tough loss in the divisional to the Bengals. But Derrick Henry, he should be healthy to go for the whole season. Even when he missed time last year, the guy still had 900 yards on the ground. That's just incredible. That just has to tell you how much this guy means to the Titans, and he should be an MVP candidate in my opinion. Mm-hmm. They just give it the quarterbacks now pretty much, but you got to put Derrick Henry in the talks of it at least. So yeah, this was a no-brainer, and this is actually my lock of the week. I'm going to go Tennessee here because the Giants, kind of like the Browns, they also have trouble in week 1. The Giants have lost 10 of their last 12 week 1s, and I expect that trend to continue. I think a healthy Tennessee team with their coach of the year, Mike Vrabel, and that stout defense, and even though they are facing some quarterback issues as well with, is it a prove-it year for Ryan Tannehill, or are we going to go with Malik Willis right away? We'll see, but regardless, I got Tennessee winning this one.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I just got to go Tennessee here. I just don't know about the Giants anymore. The receiving core is nice, I suppose, but with Kenny Galladay and his well-overpaid contract and him not doing much, and then Kadarius Toney, him and his issues, and then Barkley, God bless Saquon Barkley. I actually have him on one of my fantasy teams, so I'm hoping he can break out and be their God savior this year, but yeah, I don't know how much he can do that, man. I know they have a new head coach, Brian DeBoer, new front office, pretty much new culture, which is exactly what the Giants need. Danny Dimes is not Danny Dimes, and I think he's not going to turn heads this year because he hasn't yet, and it might be too late. In my honest opinion, it is already too late, but they already have to run with him. So I think they'll run with him for this year, and that's pretty much it. They'll run him out. They'll run with him and then run that whole train out. Yeah. But Tennessee, yeah, give me Tennessee 100% here. Now, I don't know how much of a passing attack they're going to be with A.J. Brown not on the team no more. Treylon Burks is very nice, but
not only that, they also added, I think they added Robert Woods.
They did. And those two collectively might make up for the absence and the loss of A.J. Brown, but A.J. Brown is incredibly underrated, so I don't know. They're obviously going to feed Henry.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much they can afford to feed him at this stage of his career.
Yeah, I mean, they did last year, and he showcased, just a glimpse of, that was like the first half of the season, and I feel like if he was fully healthy, he was going to break all sorts of records and actually win MVP. Like he was bound to get that award to win MVP. Basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Tennessee, I still think they're a good team. I think they're a playoff contending team. The Giants, it's for Brian DeBoer and the new front office, it's going to take them time. Especially with Danny Dimes still at quarterback, I don't see him doing much. I really don't. It's going to take DeBoer time. It really is. Just like it took him time to get Josh Allen to where Allen is right now. So I feel like you give DeBoer some time. You give him some patience, some time. I think he could really turn the Giants around. I really do feel that way, but I don't really see the Giants doing much here against Tennessee. Actually, this is my spread game right here. I think the Titans are 5.5 point favorites against the Giants right here. So I'm gonna go with this game as my spread game for Tennessee. Give me Tennessee by a score of 30-20.
Okay. All right, next game we have the Green Bay Packers at the Minnesota Vikings. Another rivalry matchup here, the NFC North. Minnesota under a new head coach here with Kevin O'Connell, I believe is his name.
Yes.
And Green Bay might be taking a little bit of a hit from their passing attack because they lost Devontae Adams. They traded him this past offseason. So two teams that are making or that are seeing some drastic changes. So how do you feel about this one?
Minnesota seems to be the only team that can really stand up to Green Bay in this division because they beat them at Lambeau a couple years ago, and last year they split with them too. So, yeah, I mean, the Vikings in general just have a really underrated team. Like, they got a lot of firepower on that offense with Jefferson and Thielen and a healthy Dalvin Cook and Kirk Cousins. The guy puts up some pretty good numbers. but I wouldn't call him elite per se, which is why I think he's not overrated to me in the traditional way, but it's just like when people say like, oh, this guy's top 10 in the league because he throws 33 touchdowns and 7 picks, like that's what I mean when I say that you're overrating him, not like in the traditional way, but like you're overrating him by saying that he's a top 10 QB in the league,
Right.
Minnesota's front is incredible. They had the second most sacks last year behind us, obviously. But yeah, the Vikings, I think they can really get over that hump this year and make the playoffs. But I don't know. It's hard to bet against the Packers because Aaron Rodgers got that massive extension. So if the Packers do not win at least one Super Bowl with those 4 years that Rodgers gets, there are going to be a lot of questions to be answered up there in Green Bay, because now with Devontae Adams being gone, Aaron Rodgers eating up their cap, it's going to be, Jair Alexander's gone too, so that's going to hurt their defense. Green Bay, I still think they're good enough to win the North, but they got the team in week 1 that's looking to surpass them, quite honestly. And this honestly has upset written all over it. But I don't know. It's just the Vikings have a lot of hard luck. And they just, I don't know. It's hard to bet against Green Bay. I'm going to go with the Packers here. But I think Minnesota's going to give them a good game.
Yeah, this is another tough call for me because I feel you. I want to take Minnesota. I think they have the talent power to absolutely beat them and potentially take the division. But their track record is not on the good luck side. So it's really hard. I think Green Bay's passing attack could definitely take a hit with the loss of Adams, but you also can't exactly bet against A-Rod, especially, winning back-to-back MVPs. Both of them are, I ain't gonna lie, both of them are kind of arguable because for once, both MVPs could have went to running backs, Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor, respectively. However, it's still Aaron Rodgers, and I think his passing attacks aren't on the level of Adams, but they're still decent enough for them to make an impact. Man, see, I'm with you. Like, I want to take Minnesota, but I can't. There's just something that's preventing me. So, yeah, give me the Packers here. What about you, Rob?
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. Minnesota, I mean, there's no doubt they're a competitive team, and I think they're going to give Green Bay a fight for sure in Minnesota with the new head coach, Kevin O'Connell. But it's Green Bay. It's A-Rod. Yes, he don't have Devontae, but he still has targets. Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, he's been, the star in training camp for them, supposedly.
Right.
I think that he's getting his stud tight end, Tunyon, back, Robert Tunyon. Back
Is Randall Cobb still in Green Bay?
Yes.
They still have him?
Yes. I believe he's still in Green Bay. As a matter of fact, I forgot they also brought in Sammy Watkins, the Week 1 wonder.
God.
So...
God, they are desperate, aren't they?
I would probably suspect something for Sammy Watkins this week, and then he'd be a ghost for the rest of the season.
Right.
Yeah, give me Green Bay. I think Minnesota will definitely give them a fight, but it's kind of hard to bet against the two-time straight MVP.
Right.
MVP.
However, do not be surprised, Matt, if I hit you up and tell you that I'm actually taking Minnesota. I'm not going to do that now, but don't be surprised if I do.
And you might regret it.
Oh, not at all.
And you might regret it.
Yeah, because every time I do that, the team I originally pick wins.
I feel you. That's happened to me. That's happened to me a million times.
I don't know. Shit happens, but next game we have partially, arguably game of the week here. We have Kansas City, the Chiefs, traveling to the Arizona to face the Cardinals. Two high-powered offenses, man. This should be a very interesting game. Obviously, little background here, little history with Pat Mahomes and Cliff Kingsbury, since that was Mahomes' coach back at Texas Tech. So that's a little story going into this game here. What's your prediction?
Good game, I agree, but a couple things with the Cardinals is that reminded me of us from 2020. They got off to a great start, but then they hit a big bump in the road, and then they came in pretty much limping in the playoffs, and then they got embarrassed by the Rams. I still can't believe Kyler threw that interception. That was one of the funniest interceptions I've ever seen in my life. Like, Chandler Jones is gone for Arizona. He's with Vegas now, I think, and they still got a good front. Budda Baker's still a beast with them, and so is Isaiah Simmons. A lot of people are still saying that, the Chiefs are the team to beat in the AFC West. But honestly, you might have an argument now that they might not be the best team in the West anymore. They're still really good, don't get me wrong, but like Tyreek Hill's gone, Byron Pringle's gone. He was a good red zone threat for them. Mm-hmm. They lost the Honey Badger on defense. That's huge. So, yeah, it looks like Mahomes' extension is really starting to hurt their cap. And while Juju is a good receiver, he's just not Tyreek Hill.
No.
You know? So, yeah, I think Kansas City, while they're still going to be good on offense because, Travis Kelce's still there and McCole Hardman has to step up his game now, it's just I don't think Kansas City's going to be a shoo-in for the AFC Championship anymore. I still think that they'll go into Arizona and get this win over the Cardinals because I don't trust Cliff Kingsbury against stacked teams. But I don't know about Kansas City winning the West for being a shoo-in anymore. You might want to look out for the Chiefs this year.
I actually agree. They're not as stacked. They're not as dangerous. They're not as threatening.
Yeah, compared to the other teams this offseason, with the trades and the signings and the moves that they did, I'm not saying this in a bad way to Kansas City, but on paper, compared to their division rivals, they look like the worst.
I was going to say, compared to every other AFC West team, they had the worst offseason.
Yes.
And obviously, under Mahomes and Andy Reid, they're still going to be a competitive team. But like Sermon said it perfectly, they're not a shoe-in for anything anymore. They're not always a guaranteed. They're not always a lock, I suppose, for anything.
Right.
That goes for this game as well because a part of me wants to go Arizona because I think maybe Kingsbury could be the key to beating Kansas City this week because obviously he knows Mahomes very well from his younger days. Mm-hmm. In Arizona, I mean, I personally think Kyler Murray is incredibly overrated. He did not deserve that contract. He didn't do anything to earn that pay. He gave him one playoff berth in his entire starting career so far with Arizona, and they got embarrassed.
Oh, hell, last year they barely made it.
Yeah, and it was rough. Very, very honestly, still, like as Sermon said, was very like 2020 Steelers-esque with Arizona last year. So, God, with Arizona, I love my boy James Conner. I just don't know if he's going to have a similar season because he's going to be the lead back, and they don't really have a complement anymore because they lost Edmonds to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
So, who's the second back that's going to complement Conner? That's going to rotate nicely to keep him fresh.
I couldn't tell you.
And I don't think Conner is a bell cow no more. He just doesn't have the body to do it. He's purely a goal line successful back, and that's no Harper on James Conner. I love that guy. But I just don't know if he's the full-time bell cow ball carrier that's going to, be what he was last year just because, he really needs someone to compliment him at this stage in his career. Now, he could prove me wrong. I hope he does prove me wrong. I just think, the caliber player he is, he's going to need someone to help him out. So, with that being said, man, they have a nice receiving core, but Hopkins is out for at least, 6 games or something?
Yes.
So,
I think so.
Yeah, and the defense is nice, but, I mean, they did lose a lot of key members. So, I mean, God, when you look at both these teams, there was some positives, but there was a lot of negatives with the offseason. But with that being said, give me Kansas City. That's just a safe bet at this point. I could see Arizona pulling it off, but I'll go Kansas City.
I mean, I'm right there with you, Dan. I can see Arizona definitely pulling this victory off at home in Arizona against Kansas City. But it's just something about Arizona. I don't think they're going to be as hot as they were last year. I don't think they go on a long undefeated streak. I don't really think they do anything out of the ordinary compared to anybody else. I think Arizona. I think they'll be a good team. Don't get me wrong. I think they'll be a very good team, but I don't think they do anything, spectacular compared to last year.
No.
The Chiefs, same thing. They did lose some guys. They lost Tyreek Hill. They have guys that could fill in, at least for right now. Juju, rookie wide receiver Sky Moore, we'll see how he does.
Right.
Being more than likely the replacement to Tyreek Hill.
Gonna have to be. Sky Moore was
he was great coming out of college. I was a big fan of Sky Moore.
I think all three of us love what Sky Moore showed in the draft process.
Yeah. Their defense definitely is going to take a toll. I mean, they have Justin Reed, but he's no Tyrann Mathieu.
No, not by any chance.
Let's be real here, but yeah, I'm gonna go with the safe bet right here. I mean, it's Pat Mahomes at the end of the day, and he's gonna find a way to get a victory. So, give me Kansas City here.
Right. Next game. Speaking of the AFC West, man, we just went from one team to two teams here with another rivalry matchup, one of many this weekend. And this arguably has the chance to be the best because we're talking to two teams that improved big time, especially the Raiders. Now, I don't like, what's his name? The new head coach. Josh McDaniels, was that his name?
Yeah, for the Raiders.
Yeah, I don't like him as a head coach. I don't think that's the guy that's going to take them to the direction where they need to go. I don't think he's the right guy to lead that talented of a team.
I don't know why they got rid of their interim head coach from last year.
I don't know
He was great.
I don't know either, but there's no doubt they had a hell of an offseason for sure. And so did the Chargers. They definitely boosted what they needed to, especially on defense. This should be a good game, man. This is honestly one of the games I'm definitely going to look forward to after the Steelers game. What's your prediction here?
This is definitely going to be a great game. I was so close to making this my spread prediction, but I just went with, the more confident one for me.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the Raiders, amazing offseason they had. The biggest one, obviously, Devontae Adams. But, something I remembered with the Raiders before I penciled them in for being like, oh, yeah, this team's definitely going to go back to the playoffs. The Raiders have a little bit of a history of bringing in a star receiver and they don't perform well. Like we saw that with Randy Moss back in the day and the 15 minutes that Antonio Brown was there. But, yeah, so I'm not saying that's going to happen to Devontae Adams. It's just something to consider with the Raiders,
I'll even throw out Martavis Bryant.
Yeah, but now, putting him with Darren Waller, wow, I mean, Derek Carr has some firepower to work with right there.
And Renfro, man, in the slot.
Oh, yeah, Renfro, too. How could I forget him? Josh Jacobs, I think this is a big year for him. It's a make-or-break year for him. I think he's productive, but he's just kind of inconsistent. I believe I said Chandler Jones they added as well, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, putting him with what's his face, Max Crosby. The Raiders, they have potential to go back to the playoffs again if Derek Carr can ball out again, which I think he can. But, man, I got to tell you, the Chargers, I think if any team in the AFC West is going to overtake Kansas City, I think it's the Chargers. And if any of you guys saw my predictions for the season, I actually had the Chargers winning the West. I think they're ready to take that next step forward. And Justin Herbert's just playing out of his mind. They got a good set of receivers. Williams and Keenan. Williams is really good. Keenan Allen's really good. Defense still could use some work though. With all that being said, but Joey Bosa's still a stud. But overall, this Charger team, they are on a mission, and I think that they really can one-up Kansas City because, the biggest thing for me, Arrowhead's a really tough place to play, but the Chargers, since Pat Mahomes became their starter, have beaten the Chargers 3 out of 4 times at Arrowhead. Not a lot of teams can say they've done that. And it's interesting because the Chiefs and Chargers play each other in Arrowhead on Thursday night in week 2. So that's another game for later. But with this game, I don't know. This is a really tough one again. But I'm going to say that the Chargers get the job done in an offensive explosion here. I just think that, LA, I think they're just more developed right now than the Raiders are. But yeah, like, I'm not saying Vegas can't win because they absolutely can, but like I just like the Chargers a little bit better. So give me LA here.
Yeah, I have a good feeling about the Chargers this year. Herbert is obviously the right guy to go in that direction. The receivers are really, really good, obviously. Their running back tandem's nice. The defense is improved for sure, adding in Khalil Mack. Obviously, Derwin James is healthy now. So he had a great year last year. So, yeah, I definitely feel the Chargers are on the verge of just bursting into a true elite team. And they've had a string of bad luck the past couple of years, or even the entire Phillip Rivers run they had. They had most of the talent. It's just, the Los Angeles Chokers, man. It was a thing, and in a way it still is. But I think now the Chargers can actually go into serious territory, and I think that starts this Sunday. And what I think will be one of the better games of the week. Give me LA here. I really like the Chargers. Vegas won't go down without a fight, but I think the Chargers just edge it out.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a competitive, hard-fought game for both teams. Vegas, Derek Carr's really – he has been coming into his own, really. Last year, I feel like was one of his better years.
I don't know how you guys feel. I think Derek Carr is severely underappreciated and really underrated.
Right.
Oh, he is.
Yeah. And the targets that he's got around him and adding, his former receiver from college, Devontae Adams, I mean, that's just a recipe for a feisty and a great offense. And if Josh Jacobs could really come into his own like he did earlier in his career, then that's just a bonus right there. And the defense that they got guys that are stepping up, that are coming to their own. The Raiders are looking real good. The Chargers, though, I'll say this about the Chargers: on paper and talent-wise, they are probably one of the most stacked teams in the AFC and probably in the NFL in general.
Right.
It's just, can they execute? And I think they can. Justin Herbert's great. The receivers are great. Running backs are great. Defense is probably the most stacked that they have been since probably back in the mid to late 2000s, really. Right. Back when they had LaDainian Thomas and Phillip Rivers age, really, when that defense was pretty good.
Yeah.
But it's a tough one, but I think I'm going to go with the home team here.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with the Chargers.
Okay.
I really am.
Well, Sunday Night Football, man, the first Sunday Night Football game of the year. It is the same game that opened the NFL season last year, and now they're on primetime this time around. It was a great game to open the season, and I think it'll be very similar this time around. Tampa Bay, the Bucks, at the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, man, this should be a very good Sunday night game. What's your prediction?
So every single year I say this about the Cowboys. They are the most overrated team in the league. Even if I'll tell you, even if I was a Cowboys fan, I'd say that, because the thing is that they're so overhyped to just do something just because they're the biggest market in the NFL, but yet they never perform.
No.
I mean, I don't see all the hype with Dak Prescott, to be honest with you, because he has some explosive playmakers at receivers. The guy never does well in big games. The Cowboys in general never do well in big games. And I just don't think Mike McCarthy is that good of a head coach.
No.
And, the O-line isn't what it used to be. Zeke isn't what he used to be. He's still productive. He's just not, elite anymore, in my opinion.
No.
And they just lost Randy Gregory on defense. So, the Cowboys, they lost a lot this offseason, and that's why I said earlier that Philly can win the NFC East. But still, I mean, the Cowboys are good, but come on, they are not, as good as people say they are. And because of that, we're subjected to watch them about 9 or 10 times a year when we don't have to. That's the main reason I can't stand them. It's because they're on, every single primetime slot or late game slot when there's 31 other teams in the league that we can watch.
They're America's team. Put them on primetime 12 times out of the year.
No, they're not America's team. They're America's second option because we were originally offered America's team, but we turned it down, so they gave it to them because we beat their ass in the Super Bowl twice.
Yep.
But anyway, that's another video. But Tampa Bay, well, Tom Brady retired, and then he came back. Pretty much gave up football for Lent. But, yeah, what's there to be said about Brady? I mean, I think I can speak for a lot of Steeler fans, you two included. I can't freaking stand the guy, but there's no denying that he's the GOAT.
100%, 100%, man. Like, honestly, it's been more of a respect thing nowadays rather than God, I just hate seeing this guy. I've actually enjoyed Brady's days in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, he's actually far more likable in Tampa.
Very.
Mainly because he's not in the AFC anymore, and we don't have to worry about him every year now. Because, like, this is how I'd feel about Brady if he spent his whole career in the NFC. Like, I just wouldn't care about him, you know? But the fact that he ruined what could have been a dynasty for us, that's really what makes me can't stand him.
Yeah.
You know? But there's no denying he's the GOAT. That's all there is to it. And now they added Julio Jones. I mean, he's still good. He's just, I don't know if you can really call him a top receiver anymore, but he's still a really good, savvy veteran to add to that already dynamic receiving core. But Rob Gronkowski is out for sure. He retired, so he's gone. So I don't think that'll be too much of a problem for Brady. It's just that he's going to miss his favorite target he's ever had. But then there's that Bucs defense that's just really good. They got a great front. Pass defense looks pretty good. So, yeah, I mean, there's no reason to not say Tampa Bay is going to win the South again. I literally have no doubt as to why they can't. So I know Tampa got kind of lucky against Dallas last year, but still, Brady threw for 400 on these guys in week one, and Cowboy fans want to blame the refs for that. But I think Tampa wins this one again. I hardly ever bet against Brady. I hardly ever pick against teams that Brady plays for, and I see no reason not to. I'm going to say Tampa gets it done over Dallas.
Agreed. I mean, Brady could play till he's 50. I don't know. He's already 45 years old and still playing some of the best ball of his entire career. I don't get it.
He's 45 and he still plays like he's my age. The guy ages backwards.
Yeah, really, it doesn't make sense. But that's just a testament to how great this guy truly is, man. And his longevity is even more impressive. Yeah, Tampa Bay. I mean, enough said. I don't trust Dallas whatsoever. They are the choke machine of the NFL. You got Jerry Jones, Mike McCarthy, and Dak Prescott. That is the worst mixture you could have. And now they're facing Tampa Bay on primetime. So, I mean, Dallas is solid. It's good. It's got its players. It's got its core guys. But they're just not there, man. You know, they might make a playoff spot again. But like usual, it could be a one-and-done deal.
Yep.
So I just can't have any legitimate trust or I guess confidence, or more so like what's the word I'm looking for? It's more of a convincement. Is that a word? It is now. There's no convincing from the Cowboys, pretty much.
No.
So yeah, let's go Tampa Bay here. Absolutely.
Yeah, Tampa Bay for sure. I mean, yeah, it's in Dallas. They got the home field advantage, but that's not really going to do much, especially with what Dallas is dealing with at the moment, as they are plagued with injuries. A lot of their guys are plagued with injuries. The offensive line of theirs isn't as strong. I mean, Tyron Smith is basically going to be out.
Yeah, they had to go on the streets and sign 40-year-old injury-prone Jason Peters.
Yeah.
Their offensive line is in
not,
shambles.
It's not as strong, and you know they're going to try to feed Zeke, and that's not a good recipe to have.
No.
It is not. Honestly, I would give the ball to Pollard. But considering you gave Zeke all that money, you have to use the guy, and that's their fault.
Well, they're trapped in a contract for at least another 4 years unless they opt out. But
yeah, it's their fault.
Yeah.
That is their fault. Their defense, I mean, it's nice. It's pretty good. They did lose a decent amount of guys, but they still have guys that can be capable, that can get sacks, that can get turnovers.
Right.
As far as stopping plays, though, that's a problem of theirs. And going up against a hot and fired and still great Tampa Bay offense with Tom Brady back at quarterback. I guess you could say back at quarterback.
Yeah, I suppose. He is back at quarterback.
Yeah, give me Tampa Bay. I don't really see Dallas standing much of a chance, if I'm going to be completely honest with you.
No. They might make it close like last year, but it's not. I doubt they pull it off. But to close out the Week 1 picks, guys, to close out Week 1, opening week of the NFL season, Monday Night Football, we have Russell Wilson returning home. The Denver Broncos at the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson faces his former team. How poetic to open the season. This is a fun watch, but this is a no-brainer, correct?
I agree 100%, and it's even more of a poetic thing because, well, about, 8 years ago, these two met in Super Bowl 48, and it was one of the worst Super Bowls I ever saw.
Yeah.
And now Russell Wilson joined that team that Seattle blew out of the water. So, yeah, go figure with that one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like Denver, I'll just say it right now. If there's any division in the NFL where I legitimately think all 4 teams in that division can make the playoffs, it's the AFC West. That's going to be a great division this year. You know, I have to say, though, the Broncos, I'm going to say that they're, let's say, the least best team in that division. But I still think that they're very improved. Their defense is still really good and feisty. They got a very good pass defense now. I will say, though, that losing Noah Fant in that Russell Wilson trade is going to hurt them a little bit because he was a really good player for them.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, the thing with me is that Russell Wilson's going to CenturyLink or Lumen or whatever the hell it's called now, and he just doesn't lose in Seattle. Like, he's another one of those quarterbacks to where he's next to impossible to beat in his venue, and that was the case in Seattle. Now he's going there as a visitor. He knows Seattle very well. He just doesn't lose in Seattle. And then the Seahawks, I mean, with them losing Russell Wilson and them having to pretty much play musical chairs with Drew Lock and Geno Smith, Seattle is committed to a full-fledged rebuild, and this might be worse than the 1992 Seahawks because that team went 2-14 that year, and they had pretty much the same offense on paper right now that the Seahawks have. I mean, sure, DK Metcalf is a really good receiver, but, like, I don't know. It's just I don't know if these quarterbacks are going to be able to work with him all that well. And their defense is just, long gone past the Legion of Boom days. So I got Denver taking this one. I got Russell Wilson winning his homecoming game. I'm going to go with the Broncos.
I agree. This actually was tied with my lock of the week with this game and the Colts and Texans game. But this for sure is going to be a dub for the Broncos. I absolutely think the Seahawks could be the worst team in the league. Yep. Potentially a number 1 overall pick. Going back to your point with DK, he's a really good receiver. Him and Locke are both. But those two, now, granted, we didn't really see much of that last year. But they don't strike me as receivers that can just produce, no matter who the quarterback is. Like, we've seen that around the league with many guys, especially Hopkins and company. But they don't strike me as those. Thus, how much of an offense can Seattle produce? That new running back they have from the draft,
Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, Kenneth Walker from Michigan State. He might do something, but it's just Seattle in general is just rough. Now, I'll give Seattle one positive, and go figure they do it after Wilson leaves. They did focus a lot on the O-line in the draft. So that might give them some boost to get a decent rushing game to obviously take a lot of pressure off that horrendous quarterback room, which I think Geno is the starter right now.
Yes.
But obviously that's only going to last maybe 2 weeks and then Locke, then, back and forth game. So, yeah, Seattle's just not in a good stance right now, and thus Russell Wilson's going to, definitely get a dub back at home for sure. And I I really love the Broncos this year. I love their roster last year. Obviously, Drew Lock was not the guy there. Russell Wilson's superiorly better, and they just gave him an extension. I think that offense has everything it takes to go to the next level. They have a really good O-line. Javonte Williams, I think, is going to be a breakout candidate this year. The receivers, if they can stay healthy, are very, very nice.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only issue with that receiving core, though, is all of them have injury concerns. Judy was out most of last year with an injury, so was Sutton. KJ Hamler and his speedy self can't stay healthy, so that's the major breaking point. But at least they have a rushing game to
rely on,
and the defense is very nice as well. So, I mean, Denver definitely gets the dub here.
Yeah, I mean, good luck, Seattle. Denver Broncos getting this dub.
Enough said.
Enough said, and good luck in general this season, Seattle. Like, my God, I can't name you one guy that sticks out to me. Not even Jamal Adams.
No, not anymore. Not anymore.
Jesus Christ. God bless them.
But with that being said, guys, that is our Week 1 predictions with Steel Sermon. I want to give Sermon a huge thank you for his time and his predictions and his thoughts all around the entire NFL, all around Week 1. And I cannot wait for you to join us for the Steelers versus Bengals live reactions watch party comes Sunday afternoon, man, for Week 1 for the first game of the season, man. Let's see if the Steelers can get an upset here and start the season off hot, very similar to last year. As for this entire season, it should be a very fun watch. NFL football is back. Hell yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
Amen, boys. I mean, it was always a pleasure to be on here and talk picks and, interact with your subscribers, man. And like I said, I mean, these guys, they're going to see true passion come Sunday, in both this play-by-play, and I like to save most of my energy for my post-game, to be honest. But yeah, like you'll know, like, if something's gonna come up in my post-game, I'll like go on and on about it in the stream, like you can tell. But like, yeah, man, it's always great to be on here. It's always great to talk, and football's back, baby.
Yes, sir, and it's always great to have you on. So, again, I appreciate your picks and your time, and can't wait for Sunday, man. And believe me, bring out all the passion, all the anger you want. This is unfiltered. This is free. Feel free to say and do anything that may be very warranted, which it will be this season. I just have a feeling because, it's the Steelers, but obviously that's going to be contagious on us as well. So it should make for a fun interaction, not only this weekend, but for the entire NFL season this year. So, once again, thanks for coming on, and can't wait for Sunday, brother.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I try not to cuss on my channel, but because I got younger subscribers on there, and I even got some family members on there now. But like, hey, the Steelers, they're worth cussing about.
Hey, exactly, and that's why like this year we added a swear jar to kind of like punish us, and I'm gonna keep that trend going all season, and I want to find a way, as a matter of fact, to calculate how much we put in each stream, so like there's a record thing. But again, I'm gonna be the same. I'm gonna try to hold my language back. I'm trying to be a little bit more professional, and obviously for the younger viewers, and same thing ourselves. We have some family watching us now more so than ever, so definitely want to be a little bit more family friendly, I guess. But it's the Steelers, man. It's in this year, man. I don't know what to anticipate, so it's like the chains are off, and it's more so like just enjoy the ride, and whatever happens, happens, and just go all out and let your frustrations run wild at this point, because it's going to be a fun year.
Oh, for sure, man.
Yeah, but those that are not subbed up to Steel Sermon, definitely sub up to him. Just hit the @ in the title or obviously in the description below. Definitely go sub to him. Let's help him rebuild the channel back up and get him to 1,000 subscribers and even more, man. Let's definitely boost his channel back up, since unfortunately he has to start from scratch again. But, maybe this is a good resurrection, a good second start to, boost your channel even greater and bigger. So that's the hope, man.
Thanks a lot, boys. I appreciate it.
100%, man. But thanks for joining us. And let us know you guys' picks down below. And see you in the next one.
Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace!